Okie.
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 Okie and welcome.
We acknowledge that we're gathered on the lands of the Blackfoot people of the Canadian Plains.
We pay respect to the Blackfoot peoples past,
present,
and future.
We recognize the thousands of Indigenous peoples
From many diverse nations,
call us their home.
including members of the Blackfoot Confederacy,
The six gates of the beat.
Akana,
Ikani.
Siksika,
I'm Scoppy people.
as well as other First Nations,
Métis, and Inuit peoples. We respect Indigenous peoples' cultural heritage.
Beliefs.
truth
And relationship to the land.
that stretches back in time.
We will not blink at history.
We will not blink at history.
And we will learn from it.
Okie is an invitation.
A step forward.
in Blackfoot, Okie means hello.
Okie means hello.
Hello.
Okie.
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 Okie and welcome to the lands of the Blackfoot people.
Hello, good evening, Okie. Welcome to Dial. Here's what this show is about. We want to talk to people about their authentic self. What are they doing? What are the things they believe? What are the things that are important to them? My co-host is here, Diane. Diane, how are you this evening?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. Nice to be here.
Good. Great to see you again. Great to see you. So we might just change up this episode just a little bit, Diane. What do you think?
Hey, I think we're gonna have to.
So we had a
We had a
guest.
mystery guest. We had a mystery guest that's still a mystery.
Exactly. Apparently we didn't, the producer didn't do a good enough job screening our guest or something. I don't know what
Yes.
it was. But anyways, it's no
Your
worry.
Guest list.
It's not a problem. We will carry on bravely. Here's what I think, Diane, maybe what we should do is share kind of who we're looking for, what things they might want to tell us about. What do you think of that?
I think that's a great idea.
Okay. So we had from our first guest was last week was actually Marin. Marin, very, very talented, very passionate, very creative person, had a lovely chat with her. And what she was revealing are the things that are most important to her. And that's kind of what we're asking you to reveal. And it's not like we want you to tell any deep, dark secrets that are going to cause you grief and pain in your life. It is more of a way, an opportunity for us to pay attention to you and try and understand and better accept, appreciate what you got happening in your life. What things are important to you? You might influence and change us, or maybe it's just a matter of that we just appreciate and value what you're doing and something along those lines. Would you agree, Diane? Is there a better way to say that?
I totally agree. And what I could add to that is the time is now, especially in the experience that we've had with COVID. And I believe that people, and I've heard this, and the research is showing us this, that isolation and lack of connection is taking its toll psychologically on lots of lives out there. And I think the intention and the purpose behind this show that we talk about passionately is about relationship and connection, and that there's really amazing people in the community. And so many times we don't know who they are, we don't know about them, and they have gifts and strengths to share. And this was our opportunity to just give voice to that, allow people to be seen. We're curious. We want to talk to you about what's your kind of your vision, what are some of your strengths, what's some cool stuff, and just give you an opportunity to be seen.
Exactly. We believe, Diane, you correct me if I lead us astray here, but we believe we are spiritual beings who are on this human journey with you, all our brothers and sisters, and we know that all of us came into the world with a specific set of talents and abilities and capacities, and there's just, you have a uniqueness to you. You have fingerprints that are unique. You have DNA that's unique. You have a uniqueness to you that needs to be expressed, and a perfect life gets the ability to be expressed. We want to be part of that conduit and encourage you to express that unique self that is you. And we're going to be totally accepting. We're going to be totally loving it that you're sharing who you are with us. We realize you might be vulnerable doing that, but we want to encourage you that we are a safe place to do that.
Okay. And we're hoping that this can evolve into an interactive platform. So viewers would have the opportunity to either put in a chat or maybe even call in, hence the name. Dial in is what we were thinking, and provide people opportunity to ask questions or introduce themselves or to say hi or connect.
Exactly. So now, Diane, you probably
Yes.
haven't revealed to me, your close friend, and I cannot believe you haven't shared this with me. What is your grand vision? What difference is Diane going to make for the rest of her life? What difference is she going to make? And at the end, she's going to say, hallelujah, I did it. My life was wonderful. Well lived.
That's a grand question. That's a really, so you know what? I'm going to answer it, and I'm going to give the long answer, not the short answer.
Okay.
Because a week ago, a very dear friend of mine sent me a podcast, and the podcast was by a fellow named James Hollis, and he's a psychoanalyst. And I listened to this podcast, and I was very taken. And so I listened to it a second time so I could take some notes. And the message that he was given is when we are small, we most likely ask the question, why am I here? What's my purpose? And so he starts talking about that and unpacking that. And what he says is that for a large part of our life, we're dependent on external forces or external information that creates the sense of what we think that purpose should be. So we might think our purpose is what our mother wants us to be, or what our teacher wants us to be, or what our partner wants us to be. And we live out these scenarios based on that external information. And he says there are transition points and periods in our journey that we stop paying attention to that particular information, and there's a transition, and we may pick up on some other information, but it moves us closer to what he talks about, the soul. And that's where we find out what our real purpose is. And he starts talking about the accountability to the soul. And who are we and what are we really meant to do? He talks about these transition periods as passages. And he said, no matter how dire the passage or the situation that you find yourself in, the soul will maintain integrity and dignity, and you'll come closer to finding out what that's all about. It's fascinating. So when you asked me that question and I started doing all of that reflection, I could identify with that because I saw myself as a mother and what I thought that was supposed to be. And I saw myself as a professional teacher, what that was supposed to be and what my partner wanted. And now that I've retired and I don't have my job and my children are not here, and I'm trying to think, what's my purpose? There's your question. So what's your purpose? And I feel like the accountability to my soul is to be really authentic, hence this show, and really understand who I am and not practice that, but be that every day. And that's enough.
Yes.
And if I can be true to that and I can be who I am, the nature of how I show up and how people experience me, and if that brings them joy or that brings them some kind of a need that's being filled or whatever, that's my purpose.
Exactly. And you know what? I want to clarify one thing, because I think this is an insight I think I just learned, what makes perfect sense. The fact that you are expressing that invite to welcome their authentic self, and that acceptance and affirmation of, the people that you encounter, right? The people that you engage. The fact that you've done it, you've done your part. You've fed your soul by making that invite. Whether they pick it up or not, that's not up to you. That's up to them, right? That's, you know what I'm saying? Like, we can offer, if we think we have an insight that's valuable, we can give it out as a gift and then feel good that we've made the gift. If they don't see it as a gift, or they don't value it, or they don't pick it up, or there's nothing they don't see it as anything that's going to add value in their lives, that's okay. Doesn't reduce in any way the gift that we tried to extend, that in their case maybe wasn't appropriate, but we thought it would work because it worked in our life, kind of thing. And I think we're all trying to figure that out, what works in our life, and look at what other people do and say, I'm going to try that little snippet and see if that works here, right?
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to give the question right back to you.
Yes.
What's your purpose?
Okay, this might get a little weird, Diane. I think I told you this once already, but I don't think I've really shared it publicly, but I'm going to share it now. I had this experience, I guess you'd call it kind of like a lucid dream experience, in which I was told that I was an instrument of the divine. And I was quite surprised with that proclamation. And I suggested there's probably another Alan Friesen that they're thinking of. I'm not the right one. I'm thinking it's probably maybe my cousin Alan Friesen, and he's a mayor in Altona. Maybe that's the guy. But I was assured that I was the instrument of the divine. So I started kind of reasoning out, well, what does that even mean, right? And so as I've now determined it, or now decided, or now accepted, I guess, I believe an instrument of the divine, and I thought it was only me, but it's not only me. It's all of us can be an instrument of the divine if we choose, which I think is exactly in alignment with living your authentic self. So you have, from our creation, when we were born, when we came out of our mother's womb, we had an authentic self that we are to discover throughout our lifetime. And some of us, it comes very easy because we get the supports and the encouragement and the opportunities to try different things and discover what that is. For others, we're maybe a little bit of a slow learner. I'm a slow learner type. I'm just figuring this stuff out. I don't know why it takes me so long, but that's okay. I'm fine with that. Anyways, my point is this: if we are instruments of the divine, so we are spiritual beings here having this human experience, and then our role is to be of value to our other brothers and sisters who are having this journey. That's our role. So if we are connected to source, so we have access to this limitless supply of intelligence and intuition and love and compassion and understanding and empathy, that we have access to an unlimited supply, and then we can use that in making a difference for humans, for our brothers and sisters who are on this journey, then I think we should be very, very bold with what we think our purpose is. And so what my purpose is, in conjunction with, I'm not saying I'm doing it by myself, but in conjunction with you and about 1,000 other human beings, we're going to end violence. End violence, stop the suffering of violence, leading to suffering, leading to more violence, leading to more suffering, leading to more violence. And I think it's doable to do. There's nobody who's experiencing violence right now who wants to continue experiencing violence. I don't think there's anybody you could say, yeah, sign me up. I want more, kicks and punches, right? And I don't think there's anybody using violence who wants that. It hurts them to use violence as well. And so I think there's numerous different ways to approach this, but I think that is my purpose. That is what I am going to contribute towards until I take my last breath.
Mm-hmm. What do you think the source of violence is?
Well, our friend David Irvin says that violence is when suffering has no way to express itself, no other way to express itself, something like that. Violence is what occurs when suffering has no other way to manifest. So then stopping the violence stops the suffering. And then the suffering, a lot of that is just like the podcast that you were just referring to, is about our lack of being connected to our authentic self, and how we want to come into the world and how we want to present in the world and how we want to be focused on love instead of fear. So yeah. What'd you say?
So is violence the symptom of suffering? Is that what you're saying?
That's a good question. I think it's an expression of suffering. That's the way I see it. Right?
So
But
I
depression.
wonder
Go
if
ahead.
your mantra shouldn't be to stop suffering instead of to stop violence. Because
That's a good idea. Yes. Yeah, that's smarter. Yeah, because if violence is just one expression of suffering, you stop suffering, right? And in that, what is all included? Like suffering is a bigger concept than violence. I think violence is a little bit more narrow, right? It's but yeah, you're true. If it was suffering, that would even be bolder in terms of ending suffering. Yeah.
and maybe suffering could best be understood by adverse experience.
Certainly a lot of it, isn't it? Like there's the
I know
connection between adverse childhood experiences that are unresolved, unmet, and bad life consequences, health wise, more likelihood of addiction, more likelihood of suicide, more likelihood of poor relationships, those kind of things. Yeah, there's the big chunk of it, and that's all suffering, right?
Yeah, because maybe people are migrating towards violence because the pain inside is so great they don't know what else to do.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so if you can look at what's causing and creating that pain in the world, and I think the research and all of the learnings that we have coming out of that research around trauma might be a way to look at it, because you can't make trauma or adverse situations go away.
No.
Lots of the experiences that we have are going to happen. And I write about this in my book, right?
Yes.
So what happened with our boys, you can't stop that from happening.
No.
As much as you try. So how do you overcome adversity? How do you look at adversity differently so it doesn't migrate towards violence?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And becomes, like, you see some people who have had very, very hard lives that are now so totally committed and so full of love and generosity that they want to save other people from that pain and suffering that they've known. Right. My friend, I think I told you about my friend, Ita Mapui, Alvin is his name, is his English name. And he's he was, somebody tried to murder him. He tried to murder somebody else. He had an opioid addiction. He had like violence and anger and like horrible challenges, was a residential school survivor. And so now he's got his, he's reconnected with his spiritual self and with his community and with his creator. And he has disconnected from the opioids. And now in his reconnection, his spiritual reconnection, he's trying to get more of his brothers and sisters to kind of follow his lead, follow his path as how you get well again and how you enjoy days again. So
great. So this is a perfect introduction to our guest next week, because the guest that I invited to join us has agreed to come next Tuesday. Her name is Sarah Salter Kelly, and she has written a book called Trauma as Medicine.
Oh, nice.
And she's going to tell us about that book. And the reason that she wrote the book is that when she was early 20s, her mother was murdered.
Oh.
And so she talks about her journey in terms of coming to terms with that, overcoming the trauma of that, so that she talks about trauma as medicine.
Wow.
And it's a really beautiful story.
Yeah.
Very, very heart-wrenching. And she's a really beautiful individual. And she's going to be on the show next week. How about
lovely. Lovely. And her title, to me, that aligns a lot with Could This Be Grace, right? The same kind of a thing. These very, very, very challenging, emotional, just life denying type circumstances that you take lessons and make it into something positive, right? You overcome and make it into something better than it was, right? So yeah.
So she's a really close friend of Maren's, and
Okay.
I invited Maren to come as well and introduce her to us.
Oh, excellent. Okay, sounds perfect. Sounds perfect.
Yeah. So you see, we already set up the audience. They're not going to sleep. They're not going to sleep for 6 nights waiting to hear Sarah.
But you know what? You don't even have to wait six nights to see us again. You can come back tomorrow night. We're going to be here again at 7:00. We're having a different show, which neither of us, I don't think, can pronounce what the show is called. Can you pronounce it, Diane?
No, but it starts with O.
Anyway,
and it's like 17 letters long.
I know. My goodness. It's going to take me months to learn this word. But basically, what it means is that it's a safe, welcoming, inviting place to meet, to tell our stories, to share our stories. And so there's going to be Diane and myself and these 2 lovely Indigenous women, Blackfoot women, TJ and
Annette.
TJ and Annette. Oh my goodness. And so we're going to have a nice little chat, more kind of on a truth and reconciliation type theme. Like, how do we work together? How do we make life better for all of us?
Yeah.
Actually,
Bruised Head. That's her name.
Yes. Oh, but it gets better. Hang on just one second. I was trying to learn how to say her Blackfoot name, and I think I got it. Hang on one second. Oh, where's the note? Oh yeah, here it is. Natosaki means woman of the sun, if I recall correctly. And TJ, her name is actually Bogudun. Anyways, I'll be trying those out tomorrow.
What does TJ's name mean?
It seems like it was kind of more of a generic, like little woman, like that kind of a thing.
Okay.
If I recall what she told me correctly, yeah. Because Annette's was like woman of the sun, wasn't it? Like that she was an inspiration, that or seeing her face was, yeah.
Well, her high school student named her that.
Yes, that was beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah. Like what a testament of the difference you make in somebody's life when they want to give you a name, right? So that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I think that's pretty much what we wanted to cover off for tonight, isn't it, Diane?
You betcha. I think we did pretty good filling in for our mystery guest.
I think so too. But to our audience, if you are interested, if you want to, talk about you, tell us about you and what's going on in your life, and maybe something really unusual. That's cool. We'd love to hear it.
Is there a chat that people can?
They can comment on like Facebook or YouTube. They could comment and we should see it live is what should happen.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So nobody's commented. So. Okay.
Is anybody out there?
The last show we had some comments and they were Russian and there were like two little words and it was like, what is this? So anyways, I had no idea what that meant, but obviously I don't know, but yeah. So yes. So,
okay.
All right.
So, next week, Sarah, tomorrow night, Jay and Annette.
Exactly. And so tomorrow night, hope to see you at our safe place to have a conversation. And next Tuesday, we're going to have a guest of all guests, right, Diane?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
See
ya. Keep well.
Keep well. Bye-bye.